But let's, of course, begin with what's happening in France. The political deadlock continues to persist. President Emmanuel Macron's self-imposed deadline to appoint a new prime minister is virtually drawing to a close. But what is interesting is that there's still no name that has been announced yet. On Tuesday, Emmanuel Macron had set for himself a 48-hour deadline to finalize as to who would succeed Michel Barnier, after the latter was ousted in a vote of no confidence with barely 3 months in office. Until Wednesday evening, there has been no consensus across party lines on who could form the next government. But it still remains to be seen if the top leaders have found any kind of common ground. Now, as per the deadline, Macron is expected to appoint the new prime minister later today. And as per a government official, the president will cut short his ongoing visit to Poland as the self-imposed cut-off nears. And after the historic no-confidence vote last week sent France back into a political deadlock, Macron had reached out to several party leaders on Tuesday in an attempt to form a new government. However, the far-right and National Party and also the hard-left France Unbowed party leaders were not invited to meet with the president. Now, both parties had joined forces to topple Michel Barnier's minority government. All right, now to give us more updates in terms of what is happening at this moment in France, we're joined by our correspondent Ross Cullen, who's joining us live from Paris. Now, Ross, you've been tracking the developments that are unfolding at this moment in Paris very closely for us. Tell us, the deadline set by Emmanuel Macron is virtually coming to a close, and we still do not have a name as to who could lead the next government in France.
No, the name is going to come when Emmanuel Macron decides to announce the formation of the next government under the name of the person he appoints to be Prime Minister. Still a secret. Emmanuel Macron is not even in the country at the moment. He is still in Poland. He's returning shortly from Poland. He's cut short that trip. He met Donald Tusk, the Polish Prime Minister, earlier for talks centred on Ukraine. He had other engagements in the afternoon, but he's decided to cut those short and fly back to France, where he is due back here this evening in order to attend to the ongoing search for a new Prime Minister. Will it be François Bayrou? He is the leader of the Democratic Movement Party, a centrist party, very close to Emmanuel Macron's party Ensemble. Will it be Bernard Cazeneuve, the former Prime Minister? He was PM for about 6 months under the former President François Hollande. That might be a name that gets support from people on the left, because there have been parties on the left that would like to see a left-wing Prime Minister, parties on the right that would like to see a right-wing Prime Minister. Or it could be a surprise. Emmanuel Macron might come up with a name that was not discussed previously.
Right. Now, despite the fact that there are names that are doing the rounds, a new government that will be formed and a new prime minister will have to push through Emmanuel Macron's agenda. Pension reforms is one of the key aspects of it. Cutting down costs in the French economy is another. Can any prime minister chosen by Emmanuel Macron, considering how the parliament has now assembled after the snap elections, push through an agenda which involves cutting costs and not be challenged for a no-confidence vote?
Well, we're going to have to wait to see what the agenda is, because the new Prime Minister and the new government will set that agenda with aims and laws that they would like to push through. We'll have to see if there'll be a completely new budget, because the cost-cutting budget that wanted to see spending cuts and tax rises collapsed with the downfall of Michel Barnier. So there's going to have to be a special law put in place in the next couple of weeks just to roll over the 2024 budget into the first part of 2025. So France doesn't have a US-style shutdown. But in terms of the important pieces of legislation, we'll have to wait to see what the new Prime Minister would like to do and what the new government would like to do as well.
Indeed. Thank you very much indeed, Ross Cullen, for joining us and getting us all those details there.